Check, 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 check. Okay, sorry guys. I don't know who, if anybody's actually watching this, but I am just so sick to death of the anti-science stuff. You know, it just drives me nuts. And I just picked at random. You know, like one of the ones that just kills me, is when people, you know, you see it in forums all the time. Somebody just is new to this stuff, and the first thing people tell them to do is just pay crazy money for mic preamps. And then, you know, just now we're on a Facebook group. I don't want to call them out, but they were talking about the difference between maybe an XR18, Behringer X18, whatever, and Midas M18. And you know, the first thing I did is I had actually tested these things, apples to apples, frequency response, noise, distortion, and everything. They're pretty damn close. And so I posted my link to that. And of course, the next comment is something like, oh, it's totally different. You know, it's worth it for the mic preamps alone. And you know, people make these claims all the time about these mic preamps and all this stuff. But you know, most of the people who make these claims, I'm convinced, wouldn't know the difference. And I say it all the time. They wouldn't know the difference between them if they heard them blind. And actually, that's come up before. Remember that several kind of high-profile mic preamp listening tests, and people end up picking the Mackeys or the Arts or whatever. I'm so... I don't know why, you know, I do know why I get upset, because I used to be one of these people that did this, and this is my penance. You know, I have to say, you know, I got to make up for what I did back in the day. And, man, I tell you, this is an unsinkable rubber duck. This is like the vaccines and autism thing, you know? No matter how much you show that's not true, there would be some kind of God of the gaps. You know, it'll always keep coming back. So just at random, you know, I just popped up mic preamp reviews, and of course Reverb pops up. 15 affordable mic preamps. Okay, so first, let's just see what they say.
Hey, audio nerds.
Okay, and let's see. Am I going to get a Oh, this looks woke. Well, I probably shouldn't have said that. Whatever. Let's just see what these say. And please don't DMCA me. I think this is fair use. I'm commenting on this, and if not, if this is a good video, you're getting more views. So please don't nail me on this, Reverb. Please, please, please. I've used your services before.
It's Rachel from Reverb. So you've got a decent audio interface. You've got some nice microphones. What's the next piece of gear that's going to help take your recordings to the next level? An external mic preamp.
Whoa, okay. Let's go through that. You've got a decent interface. What's the next thing that's going to take your recordings to the next level? An external mic preamp. Can I just say, bull? Where is the evidence? Give me the evidence. What? Rachel, I almost guarantee that you would not hear the difference between these two mic preamps, the one on the interface and whatever you're trying to sell right here. I'd be willing to bet quite a bit on that. Let's just see it. Like you just made a serious claim. Like, what is it? What is it bad about the interface's mic preamp that you're not liking? And before some crazy nut gets on me about this, it's not because she's a girl that I'm saying this. This is, anybody who says this, you've seen me say this before, no matter what, when somebody makes these claims. Okay, so please don't try and play that stupid game. She just made a claim that, I'll play it again. Okay, let's just play this again. Now take a listen to what the claim is.
Hey audio nerds, it's Rachel from Reverb. So you've got a decent audio interface, you've got some nice microphones. What's the next piece of gear that's gonna help take your recordings to the next level? An external mic preamp.
Right there. An external mic preamp versus the one that's on your interface. Okay, so what's the problem with the one on the interface? Is it noise? Is it distortion? Is it frequency response? Is it bandwidth? What exactly is the problem with it? Let's see if they go into what the problem is. And come on, guys, don't DMCA me over this.
Of course.
This is fair use.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. Mic preamps are those cool little boxes that amplify low-level signal to line level.
Yep.
Typically, external mic pre's have high sound quality,
Nope.
low noise,
Nope.
more gain, and
Nope.
other features that you wouldn't typically find on your audio interface.
Maybe.
The other reason many people use external mic pre's are to get a different sound quality, color, or...
Okay, so how often do you hear all this about this color? If color was so obvious, what does color mean? Like you broke something? What if you just want your mic louder? So many of these designers back in the day said they wanted a straight wire with gain. What kind of color? Like I keep hearing, okay, listen, we as guitar players, we purposely distort our signals and we like that sound, but this color and saturation, like I see people claiming it all the time. One of the funniest ones was when I actually did the test of the Midas's, the M32 and the DL32 mic preamps. And there was these claims running all around that there's some kind of buttery quality as you got near the top and they distorted. Nope. These things were linear all the way up to clipping. It was absolutely very well designed mic preamps that didn't do anything weird to your signal. So these people always make this claim. It's just this crazy religious claim that, I'm not saying, listen, whatever you guys are going to say about me, I am betting that she doesn't even believe this. She doesn't know this. This is a script she's been handed to say. And this is kind of the same script you always hear these kind of people read off. Like, I would guarantee that, what kind of mic preamps I have. Which sticker in this room here, or anybody, and we'll play all these different mic preamps. These are very allegedly different mic preamps. You see all the descriptions and stuff about them. And we'll play them all and see if you can figure out which one's which. And I guarantee you can't. So unique color and saturation characteristics. So, okay. So when we say color, we're probably talking about frequency response. Or maybe we're talking about distortion. Saturation, guarantee we're talking about distortion. The one thing that she said that was true is sometimes they'll have things that you don't have on there, like a compressor or something. But that's not because it's a mic preamp. That's because it's got a compressor on it. So let's just gonna listen to a little bit more because I don't know.
Or characteristic out of the preamp that you don't normally get in your audio interface. A lot of the really famous mic preamps, like the Neve 1073 or the API 3124, aren't necessarily cheap. But good news for you, there's a lot of really affordable options, new and used, that are on Reverb. Today, we're gonna take a look at 15 different options that you don't have to sell your car to afford. But first, let's take a look at some things to consider. First thing to consider is number of channels.
Okay.
If you're only recording one or two things at once, you could probably save some money and buy just a 1 to 2 channel preamp that can be your golden channel preamp that you put on pretty much everything. If you're looking
so again, there's this idea that this thing is going to be so much better that you better get it and use it on all your good stuff. I'm sorry. I know you guys, a lot of you guys have seen me in front of my pile of every kind of mic preamp back in the day. You could make them sound different pathologically, but you really not. I mean, I don't distort, and I don't believe you do either. Distort mics mic inputs that often, where you'd really want to distort the hell out of something to make it noticeably different. I used to have a broken API that would kind of make snares angrier because of that, but I don't believe you. I'm sorry.
To record a drum kit, you'll probably want to look into 4 to 8 channel preamps. And of course, the price is going to be influenced.
Okay, Rachel, when you go and record a rock drum set with a 4 to 8 channel, this is just nonsense, okay? I'm about to stop with this one because this is just dumb. But
by the number of preamps. Next thing to consider is tube versus solid state. There's a myth that...
Okay, we are probably about to hear an insane amount of God of the Gaps nonsense. Tube versus solid state. The truth is, when you really good tube gear was pretty damn linear, and it really worked. Sometimes it was a little bit noisier, but it was very similar to the transistor stuff. I mean, if you distorted it, maybe it's going to sound different, but this kind of tube preamps, it's not like your guitar preamp where you really mean to distort it. It sounds different. Anyway, let's see. Man, I'm almost scared to hear it's almost like, you know, when they say non-player character, like this is almost like Mad Libs. Like you can almost know what words they're going to insert when they're talking about tubes versus transistor. But let's just see.
Out there that tubes are better than solid state. That's not true. Both are really great tools, and they have their own sound quality and characteristics as well as application that make them great for different things. Solid state preamps have low noise, they're really clean and articulate, and very true to the source. Typically, solid state preamps are not used to get that warm distortion sound. The distortion that comes from solid state pre's sounds a little bit more like clipping. But if you're looking for something that's really true to the source and clean and clear, solid state is the move for you. Tube amps are usually associated with that thicker bass, airy high end, and warm mid-range that can be considered vintage sounding. They also have sort of a natural compression to them, and as you drive the input, they can add some harmonic saturation that can be really...
You know, this is actually not anywhere near as bad as I thought. In truth, these things could both be said about either of these topologies, but in general, the way they're built, well, no, that's not true. Most of the stuff you see that says tube, like, and we make fun saying the TOOB, is starved plate. You know, it's not really cranking the tube that much, but it kind of doesn't matter. But this is nowhere near as bad as it could be. But you know, I think it was Mixbus who pointed out, or maybe it was Reaper TV or whatever. But in reality, when we talk about tube stuff, it's not about the warmth. Everybody talks about tube warmth. The people who are trying to sell you stuff or who don't use this stuff for a living always talk about tube warmth. But if you ever noticed that back in the day when you would crank up tube stuff, you're trying to crank, it's almost like an exciter. Like you're usually trying to boost the treble, honestly, or try and make things sound just harder and in the mix. Even the stuff that you would attribute to a transistor sound. But in reality, actually take a look at how your tube stuff was being used. Then look at how it's used for a guitar. Anyway.
Really musical and interesting on top of what you're recording.
Oh, musical.
The only downside to tube amps is that they may require more maintenance due to the components inside. Next thing to consider is transformers. Just like tubes, transformers can add a color or sound.
Yeah, people always talk about transformer color, and then you pay all this extra money for transformers, and you got these transformer modeling things and that. It's so, like, okay, maybe I'm totally deaf, whatever, you can say it, but it's so subtle. And the difference between having a transformer and not having a transformer, it's not going to give you a hit song or not a hit song. It's not going to give you this song sounds good and this song doesn't sound good. It's so... I mean, you can make a pathological file where it's broken, but in reality, it's going to be subtle.
To your preamp. So if you're looking to have a variety of different characteristics in your preamp collection, take a look at different transformer options. If you're looking for a really clean, pristine sound, look for preamps that don't have transformers. Last thing to note, many preamps will come...
Okay, and again, I'm going to lay this challenge down right here. I will be happy to bet quite a bit that this Rachel will not be able to hear the difference between a transformer and not a transformer, between a tube and a transistor. and between an interface mic preamp and an external mic preamp. I'll make that challenge right here, and you know, they're probably gonna DMCA me anyway. So let's see.
Come with features like a high-pass filter, decibel pads, and DI or high-Z inputs for instruments. If you're someone who likes to dial in the final tones on the way in, consider preamps that have onboard EQ or dynamics.
Okay, so this is actually something
also,
useful.
If
Maybe
you want to
have
send
this
your
stuff,
signal, to think about your space and the
let's take a look.
QMix input and headphone jack with a single-sided power piano. It's your interface or A to D need to get modest budget. The Auteur Mark II features at amazing prices. Scream their praises, and even choose.
Okay, so let's say I didn't go through this whole video, but I can almost guarantee it. There's one thing that's missing here, and this is the one thing that should matter. Where's the measurements? So you hear all these claims, all these airy fairy, whatever claims. Where did you show one that shows how much noise this has versus your onboard interface preamp? Because guess what? I did. Like, I have actual measurements here of onboard, you know, mic preamps versus external, very expensive external mic preamps. It's a 9098 in that rack right there. So where are your measurements? You know, okay, I'm done with that video. But see, look at all this. What's the here's Glenn. You know, Glenn's gonna kick my ass. What's the mic preamp I use most? You know, I don't think Glenn would know the difference either. At least the sound of them. Maybe he's got features on there that he has to use. So here's this guy. He does an actual comparison. Vocal comparison, audio interfaces versus preamplifier. Hey, you know what? At least you tried something.
What is good, my guys and girls of YouTube? It is your boy Justin Omoe here, dying a sweat, but I'm going to give
looks like
you
he's doing
basic,
a Focusrite versus the Art.
You know, convert the
Pro
audio
MPA.
signals, go into the fine art sounds. I'm going to show you the quality differences and explain
It's a
as
tube
well
one.
why did audio preamp. This is if you want to, you know, go more and more. Hopefully this is a good audio interface, so it does help amplify the sound. It's like directly friggin' big. But yeah. Alright, guys and girls, I've connected the raise up the signal. We need electric to raise it up, you know. But yeah, does it sound a bit different? Maybe. Yeah. If you don't have a trained ear, or if you can't hear this greatly enough, if you're just beginning, you may not hear much of a difference. But if you have been listening for a while,
So here's a fallacy called poisoning the well, right? He's already said, oh, there's a big, huge difference. If you don't hear it, then you don't have a trained ear. How much you want to bet that if I recorded these two mic preamps on a snare drum or something, or whatever, voices, whatever, and then we had to do an ABX test, you wouldn't be able to pick them. You know, maybe they're totally different, because actually on my page, one of the Art mic preamps that I did measure was pretty crazy. So let me just give you an idea of what this is. So I don't know if you can see this, but so here's let's see. I know I got a Focusrite one in here. Okay, so here's a Focusrite 18i20. Let's take a look at the frequency response. So everything's about flat to about 0.1, 0.2 decibels, right? That's just Focusrite. Listen, if you're flat to 0.1 decibel, you're not going to get much better than that. You can say you hear something or whatever, but come on, that is flat. On the other hand, here's this Art. So something was weird. This is a very weird mic preamp, but you know, as screwy as this looks right here, it's still flat to like a decibel for the most part. Well, it's screwy. But anyway, so he's already poisoned the well, saying that they're gonna be totally different. So
if you play this back over and over, compare the two tracks that I'm about to do, it'll sound HIJKLMNOP. Yow, yow, yow. You're A B C D E F G, A B C D E F G, A B C D E F G, A B C D E F G. All right, guys, let me know what you think. Does it sound different? Does it sound better?
Yeah, you gonna pay extra money for that? I don't think so. Yeah, Justin, there's actually, I like that you did this video, but I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just trying to make a point here. Which mic preamp should I buy? I like this guy, Real Home Recording. Ow. Wow, that's a lot louder than the other one.
A common question a lot of you guys have to a medium price one, and then they have a bunch of really expensive ones thrown in there as well. The conclusion they came to was really, really interesting. Check it out. So the results were recently released, and many people were surprised by the results, including myself. The big surprise was 2 budget mic preamps, the ART Pro MPA2 and the Mackie XDR, fared extremely well compared to preamps that are much more expensive. In fact, the ART was picked as the favorite amongst most people, I believe. It had the most votes or whatever.
Okay.
So here
thank you here, True Real Home Recording. In fact, Real Home Recording, I think I sent you some emails about checking out our plugins. If you happen to see this, if you end up DMCAing me or whatever, I don't know. But thank you for this video, because I was talking about this one. So these guys went and picked this. So this was a test. I guess it was Sound on Sound or whatever, where they tested a bunch of mic preamps, and all these guys, they're like, they all claim that they hear all these magical differences so big that you better mortgage your house and buy these different mic preamps. And then what did they find? They ended up liking that cheap ass art, you know, which is probably a really good mic preamp. I don't know.
Rob John's thoughts on the results. He's the technical editor at Sound on Sound magazine. Overall, though, it seems no one could reliably identify any specific preamp, and even where 1 or 2 managed to hit in one set, they missed in the other, which would imply no better success than random selection. And so there's the message to take away. When used simply to raise the output of a microphone to line level, without being deliberately overdriven for effect,
Yep.
and when used within their intended gain structure.
So you hear me say this over and over and over again. When you operate these modern devices in their nominal range, they're pretty amazingly accurate. Yeah, thank you, Real Home Recording, for not being a chicken. You know, you said this, and probably all kinds of, like, I'm almost scared to look at your comments. Did everybody tell you that you must be deaf because you can't hear the difference? Well, no, looks like you guys didn't beat up on them. Great. So, you know, thank you. You know what? I don't need to do any more of this one, but this is, I'm so mad. Like, I feel so bad for these guys that keep getting told that they got to buy these bajillion-dollar mic preamps when they don't need them, man. I mean, the stuff that comes, like, listen, if you got a good song, it's not going to be a modern, it's not even going to be a Behringer mic preamp that holds you back at this point. These Behringer mic preamps are, yeah, I said it, they're pretty good now, okay? Go buy an XR18, they're fine. That's enough of this. Like, I'm probably going to get in trouble for playing these videos on my stream, so thanks, whoever was watching. I'll see you guys later.